new. It's been a minute since I've been on here, hasn't it? Nah, it hasn't been that long since I've been on my channel, has it, you guys? I'm back. I am Nikki with Nikky's Savory Vegan Eats, and tonight is a very, very special episode. So thank you once again for tuning in, you guys. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button below. And right next to it is a little notification button. If you can just bing, click it, bing, whatever you want to call it, go ahead and do that as well. So anytime I drop a new video of my foods, you guys are going to get notified. So as you guys know, this is the week of Thanksgiving. So I decided, hey, I may as well go ahead and make a special episode featuring tonight, you guys. Are you ready for this? Wait for it. I am going to be making a savory vegan meatloaf using lentils and red quinoa. Just go with it. As well as some savory mashed herb cauliflower. Doesn't that sound yummy? And last but not least, I'm making some delicious broccoli crowns with sliced red cabbage. Oh, I cannot wait for this Thanksgiving meal, you guys. So stay tuned as I prepare out this meal. Okay, so to build out my vegan meatloaf, there are two main ingredients I'm going to use for this recipe. One is lentils. Yes, I am going to be using a whole lot of lentils for this recipe. So my findings are there's one or two type of people. Those who love lentils or like them, and two, those who don't. That's okay if you don't. I'm going to show you a recipe on how you may actually start to warm up to liking lentils. So for this recipe, I am not going to be doing any type of measuring whatsoever. I'm going to be honest with you guys. So I actually did a test run of this vegan lentil meatloaf yesterday because I was scared out my wits, you guys. I didn't know how this was going to turn out. So back to the story, you guys. So I literally made this beautiful vegan lentil meatloaf yesterday, and it was sitting on top of the stove. It was looking at me and I was looking at it. So I took a piece and I bite into it, right? And it's absolutely amazing, you guys. The flavors was so amazing. Everything that I put together was awesome. Pure awesomeness. So I'm going to share with you what exactly I put together in my meatloaf. So my other main ingredient to my vegan meatloaf is my red quinoa. Yes, you guys, I'm going to be using like a half a bowl of red quinoa in addition to my lentils. Again, I'm not measuring anything. I'm going purely off of feeling, all right?
I pre-cook my lentils and quinoa by boiling them for 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, so now that I've finished actually boiling my lentils as well as my quinoa, which didn't take that long at all, now I'm going to put them in the food processor. What I want to do here is I actually want to blend them well together. You can either use a food processor or a potato masher. I personally prefer the food processor just because you'll be able to blend out the lentils really well and have a nice smooth consistency, but not mushy. That's the key there. You want to make sure that if you use a food processor, your lentils are not going to come out mushy. So instead of putting my lentils on a full blending cycle, I'm actually going to post them. All right? So here we go. Okay, so before I begin to actually post out my lentils, you can see right here that I actually have a full container worth of lentils. I've put about 3/4 worth of lentils inside of my food processor and have about 1/4 left over in my pot so that they can actually have some type of texture when I build out my meatloaf. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and post my lentils until I have a nice smooth consistency, but again, not mushy.
I'm going to keep a watchful eye, ensuring I do not pulse out my lentils no more than a minute.
And as you can see, this is actually the outcome of my lentils. It has a nice texture. It's not mushy, but it has enough where I can actually blend out my loaf. I pretty much post it for about 30 seconds at most. You can do it a little bit longer or a little bit less, depending on the consistency that you are looking for.
Now I'm going to saute my onions and garlic until my onions become caramelized. Once my onions have become caramelized, I'm going to add my bell peppers. Last, I'm going to cook down my cremini mushrooms and add a little parsley. As you can see, my lentils have taken on the texture that I'm looking for, and I'm now ready to build out my meatloaf. Then I'm going to add my pre-cooked red quinoa.
Next, I went ahead and added my grilled onions as well as my fresh garlic and green bell peppers. A lovely mixture. I wanted you guys to kind of see how the colors are actually coming together. So now you see that there is a dark color over here. These are my cremini mushrooms that I just added to my bowl as well. And just remember, I am not using any type of measuring cups or whatsoever. I am going off of pure filling sensation. I'm making just enough so that this vegan lentil meatloaf is going to last for several days, so I can make some nice meatloaf sandwiches as well. So now I'm going to add a fresh mixture, cilantro in here, parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme, and fresh basil, all mixed into one. This is going to actually bring this meatloaf together. Sort of looks like a little salad I'm building out here, right? With all the fresh herbs. So now I'm going to just take some leftover red Fresno peppers and add this to my mix as well. Look at the colors, you guys.
Next, I'm adding, yep, you guessed it, Quaker oats to add a little bit more texture.
I'm going to add some of my organic herb seasoning breadcrumbs here that I love to use as well. This is going to provide added texture to what all of everything else that I have in the bowl. If you don't have these type of breadcrumbs, you can substitute it out and just simply use panko crumbs if you like. Or you can also use some bread, just basically take some old bread, toast it, or use some croutons.
Next, I'm adding smoked paprika, ground mustard, and some garlic powder. In addition, I'll be adding a little ground turmeric, onion powder, and a sprinkle of chipotle powder.
A little black pepper. I'm going to add a spoonful of Grey Poupon, Dijon mustard. Some Worcestershire sauce, or however you say this word with the W in the dark sauce. I'm going to be adding 2 barbecue sauces to the mix. I'm going to be adding my Famous Dave's Rich and Sassy sauce. And I'm going to be adding my Famous Dave's Sweet and Zesty sauce. I'm going to be adding some good old ketchup for my meatloaf as well.
And now the fun part. I'm going to mix out all of those savory goodness ingredients and make sure that they are mixed well together throughout my meatloaf. Now I'm going to simply build out my meatloaf by putting it on my baking sheet with some parchment paper. I'm simply going to build out my loaf and make it a nice size and well proportioned. Next, I'm going to take my secret blended glaze. It's not a secret. It's going to be in the recipe or the description, you guys. And I'm going to simply just take it and just brush it out evenly across my entire loaf. And here's the final product. Check out that beautiful glaze sitting on top of my vegan lentil meatloaf. Here is my savory vegan lentil meatloaf with some broccoli, red cabbage, and herb mashed cauliflower.
All right, you guys, we made it to my favorite segment of the video. You know what time it is. I am now about to introduce to you Nicky's version of savory vegan lentil meatloaf. Check this out, you guys. Oh my gosh! Do you see this? Do you see this? You guys, I use lentils to make me a meatloaf. This is my second time. As I mentioned, I did a first run yesterday. I used lentils and red quinoa as my base to build out this lovely, oh so lovely, vegan meatloaf. In addition to me making this vegan lentil meatloaf, you guys, I went ahead and also whipped up some savory mashed cauliflower with a nice portion of garlic. I love garlic, you guys. In addition to that, I have some delicious vegetables here, green broccoli, as well as red cabbage and some white onions. You guys, I'm about to go all in. I'm not about to do a whole lot of talking because I am so excited to see how this dish came together. Here we go. All right, you guys, here we go. Vegan lentil meatloaf. And look how easily it just actually, went into the fork. In addition to that, I preheat the oven for 425 degrees. And I actually cooked my vegan meatloaf for 30 minutes instead of 20 minutes. I wanted to make sure that the lentils cook really, really good and blend it really well, into the loaf. All right, you guys, here we go. Oh my gosh. Talk about your savory. This meatloaf is the bomb, you guys. It's the bomb.com, as my husband would say. This is so amazing. Do you see this right here? This is nothing but lentils and red quinoa and a whole bunch of savory goodness that I put in the recipe. Oh my gosh. This is so good, you guys. Oh my gosh. The flavors, once again, they're popping in my mouth. So I thought I would go ahead and have this recipe in time for Thanksgiving, but I know it's cutting it close. However, you can make this whenever you see fit. Thanksgiving, Christmas, non-holidays, you guys. This is absolutely amazing. Okay, in addition to my meatloaf, now I'm gonna try out my mashed cauliflower. I actually use my immersion blender, but you can use a potato masher. I added a nice portion of garlic. So here we go, you guys. Oh my gosh. Can you guys see this? I actually put in some nice herbs too in this mashed cauliflower. And just a, smidge of some crushed red pepper as well, just to give it some additional flavor. So good. I put vegan butter in here, as well as some chives and some parsley, just a whole bunch of herbs. Again, the recipe is gonna be in the description. And last but not least, I'm about to try out my broccoli as well as my red cabbage. Yum. Dang, this is good. Well, there you have it, you guys. You have a quick meal here. If you want to do something a little bit different for your next holiday dish, try out my savory vegan lentil meatloaf, which only took about 30 minutes to cook, and you can cook up any type of side dishes you see fit. Until then, you guys, I will talk to you lovely people later, and have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate it, enjoy the rest of your week as well. Take care. Bye. It would probably help if I would actually put this in the socket, wouldn't it? I was wondering why it didn't work.